This is a story drenched in horror, a killing so brutal it shocked Ireland and captivated the world. Two sisters. A Stanley knife. A hammer. And a man who would vanish piece by piece into the dark waters of the Royal Canal. This is the true story of the Scissor sisters, Linda and Charlotte Mulhall, whose name would become synonymous with the grotesque. Viewer discretion is advised. The Mulhall family lived in Kilclare Gardens, Tala, a working-class suburb of Dublin. 6 children, a fractured home, and generations of pain. Their father, John Mulhall, was a violent man. Allegations of abuse toward his wife, Kathleen, were whispered in the neighborhood. Kathleen, a woman from the Irish traveling community, eventually left him, but trauma, like a shadow, followed the family. The girls, Linda and Charlotte, fell hard into drugs and alcohol. By their early 20s, they had dropped out of school, dabbled in petty crime, and walked a dangerous line of instability and rage. In 2002, Kathleen began dating Farah Suela Noor, a man whose past would prove to be just as dark as their future. Noor arrived in Ireland in 1996, claiming to be a Somali refugee. In truth, he was Kenyan, and the lies didn't stop there. With 4 children by 3 women, all of whom accused him of rape or violence, Noor had a record that included assault, intoxication, and a horrifying rape of a mentally disabled teenager. Yet, somehow, he avoided serious jail time. When he met Kathleen Mulhall, he was violent, controlling, and manipulative. But Kathleen stayed. And so, on one fateful weekend in March 2005, her daughters came to visit and everything changed. March 20, 2005. St. Patrick's weekend, Noor, Kathleen, Charlotte, and Linda spent the day drinking heavily in Dublin city centre. Later, they returned to Kathleen's flat at Richmond Cottages. There, ecstasy was crushed into drinks. They wanted to all be on the same buzz, Kathleen would later say. Noor sat beside Linda, touching her, whispering in her ear, refusing to let go. Kathleen screamed. Charlotte acted first, slashing his throat with a Stanley knife. Linda followed, smashing his skull with a hammer. Noor's body slumped to the floor. Stabbed over 20 times. His death was not instant. It was vicious. What happened next would stun even hardened detectives. The sisters dragged Noor's lifeless body to the bathroom. There, they spent hours methodically sawing, breaking apart the body, severing limbs and torso. They wrapped the parts in black plastic bags. They used towels to stem the blood. The floor was soaked. They flushed what they could, discarded the hammer and knife into a nearby pond, and began disposing of Noor piece by piece into the Royal Canal. But they had other plans. Noor, Charlotte decided, must not be found. It would identify him. They boarded a bus with the hidden in a bag. At the Square shopping center in Tala, they walked past families, children, and shoppers carrying death in their hands. At Sean Walsh Memorial Park, they dug a hole with a kitchen knife and buried it. Days later, Linda came back, dug it up, smashed the skull with a hammer, placed the remains into her son's school bag and buried it again in another park. It was a decision they believed would erase all trace of their crime. 10 days later, a leg floated near Croke Park, still wearing a sock. The grisly discovery triggered a Gardaí manhunt. Divers retrieved 7 body parts from the canal. Noor's torso, with a distinctive t-shirt, was recognized by a Somali acquaintance who alerted the police. Crime Stoppers paid him a substantial reward, but Noor's head and penis, they were never found. The media erupted. The nation held its breath. At first, the sisters denied everything. Their mother fled to England, but in August 2005, Linda cracked. She called police and confessed. The blood in Kathleen's flat matched Noor's DNA. The truth was undeniable. Days after their arrest, their father John Mulhall, who was not involved in the killing, hanged himself in Phoenix Park. Kathleen vanished until 2008, when she returned to Ireland to face justice. October 2006. Central Criminal Court, Linda and Charlotte pleaded not guilty. Linda argued provocation. The jury believed her. She was convicted of manslaughter and sentenced to 15 years. Charlotte, who struck first, received a mandatory life sentence. The judge called it the most grotesque killing of my professional lifetime. Appeals followed. All failed. In prison, the sisters made headlines again. Charlotte held a knife to a male inmate's throat. The photo leaked. She was transferred to Limerick prison. Linda attempted suicide, slicing her arms and requiring psychiatric treatment, and their brother, James Mulhall, was later arrested for robbing prostitutes to support his children and Linda's. Their mother, Kathleen, was sentenced to 5 years for impeding justice in cleaning the crime scene, and their brother, James Mulhall, was later arrested for robbing prostitutes to support his children and Linda's. The Scissor sisters case was not just about a murder. It was about cycles of abuse. About addiction, trauma, rage, and family dysfunction. It was a crime that left Ireland stunned, and a case that still haunts those who remember. Farasuela Nor's remains lie scattered and incomplete. His name nearly forgotten, overshadowed by the monstrosity of the sisters who took his life. This has been the story of the Scissor sisters. A name the media gave them. A name history will never forget.